things to them. We're just gonna have to. It'll just be. It's just you guys. It's just not good.
Yeah. So Derek goes into the
tried to include you, but then you pushed Terry over. She hit her head.
It's the whole thing. No one could accept you because you're weird as fuck. You probably needed therapy.
You left roses on Terry's locker like a creep.
Oh, that was weird.
You called her Milady.
Oh my god. I just had like a visceral reaction to you saying Milady. Do you remember that guy who messaged me on Tinder who said Milady?
I don't remember that. I got a screenshot of it.
I know, you get all my screenshots.
God, one of the worst things that anybody could have said.
I was like,
to
oh,
anyone
Jesus,
ever.
unmatch, immediate unmatch.
Unmatched for no reason.
Did you say Milady N-word already?
Oh my god. Yeah, well, Rick did. I don't know if this Tinder guy did, but Holland and me, our favorite thing to do is unmatch for no reason.
I mean, there's usually a reason, but whatever.
If you're doing it for no reason, if you just waited, you'd find a reason, I'm
there's
sure.
not an option to say unmatched because he said Milady. Though there should be.
Unmatched because he said something weird about tights.
Oh, God. Unmatched made a pun about my name.
Oh, my God.
I get a lot of that.
I'm sure.
A lot of it is inappropriate. Anyway, Derek goes into the hallway. And he runs into Holly J and he's like, "Where have you been, princess?" or something.
Yeah, I hate every time he talks, but also Holly J with the crazy hair looks very cool. I'm on board for that.
So Holly J is possessed by Rick and she's like, "You're the princess." And Derek starts like saying she like, gets really close to her face.
Oh, yeah.
Being creepy.
All right, so no.
He's being psychotic.
He's being crazy.
I don't remember what he said.
So here's the thing. I have notes about two things. First of all, at first I was like, Holly J, like, that is not a good comeback. And then I remembered Rick never had a good comeback. So that actually tracks character-wise. But also, so Derek getting all in her face, I was like, ooh, first of all, it made me extremely uncomfortable and felt super like he was about to do something gross. But also, he had, like, that total lack of boundaries, like, felt like he was about to assault someone's stuff with Jane.
Yeah.
When she was on the football team and he got like way up in her fucking business. And you were like, and he was like suddenly terrifying and not just a pain in the ass. So this was like a lot of that.
Yeah. And he gets like close to her.
Yeah, I always remembered him being more lame, but not necessarily as like a mean bully. And he was just like, I don't know, it was like a corporate takeover. He's like, "I'm going to tear you down from your ivory tower, little princess." Like, he got like scary.
Yeah. And he has a weird voice put on and it's made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then her eyes turn like completely black, like season 2 True
Black-Eyed
Blood
Children
story. Like,
It is very Black-Eyed Children, and it's also very every demon in Supernatural, and they even have the cool sound effect that they use. So they like lifted that like eyes turning black sound effect. It's like a weird crinkling paper thing. I don't know.
And then do we see her like attack him? I don't remember what happens.
She uses super strength at some point, which Rick never had, so I don't know.
Well, it's different with ghosts.
That's true.
It's
always
different
different with ghosts.
Well, no, that's the whole thing. It's like you come back from the afterlife and they have stuff like super strength and
Hashtag maybe it's different. Ghost edition.
It's so much energy to do something like turn on a light or move, a cup across the table. This was like a demonic entity. This is like poltergeist activity.
No. Well, that's the thing. There's
possession.
also a difference between just like your regular, sorry guys, just like your regular run of the mill
Yeah,
ghost and like a poltergeist. Like poltergeists are aggressive. You guys, my
or an elemental.
Yeah, you guys, my Twitter bio
demon.
is literally just believes in ghosts. Like, lest we fucking forget. But yeah, no, it's different. I don't know. If it's a poltergeist, which I'm assuming he is because he's like a vengeful spirit, then they usually have like aggression and the ability to do shit. And they're not just like sad whiners.
And poltergeists do gain most strength around like young girls ages like 12 to 15. So it does make sense that he's using Holly J as a conduit for his poltergeist activity.
Yeah. Plus there's the whole poetry of now she's the mean girl bully and he can like take over her and now she'll feel empathy. I don't know. It's a whole
Listen to our soon coming paranormal podcast. We're gonna
Listen, I would start one in a minute if there weren't already so many good ones. Oh my God, Sean, can we have a paranormal podcast?
Yeah, we'll do it once we finish our Pretty Little Liars podcast. We talked
Oh
about.
my god, I want to be on
I
that.
forgot we were going to do that. We can definitely do that. But we should also have one, and you can
I
just...
also forgot I was watching that show and stopped around season 4.
That's what I also did, because it got real boring. But...
Perfect.
At the beginning of our paranormal podcast, you can do your lore impression every time.
Oh, that's right. My world famous lore impression. My Aaron Mankey impression is one of my few skills.
Sean has occasionally just sent me audio files via text of him doing impressions of Aaron Mankey from lore.
I feel like you two should just have a paranormal podcast where you just watch the one-off paranormal episodes of TV shows, not based on anything paranormal.
That's a genius idea, and honestly
really
would
idea.
do that. Oh, yeah.
You heard it here first, people.
Sean and Kelsey's paranormal podcast, name TBD, coming at you.
All right.
October 2018.
We'll see if that happens.
Yeah. No, don't worry.
Anyway, I'm going to try to get us back on track.
Good luck.
We're back in the gym, and someone is insulting Sav and Anya by saying, I should get you my girlfriend is so annoying stickers. But
that was Danny.
I don't remember who said it.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, because everybody's being so mean to each other.
Oh, yeah, and
everyone's
Danny's still all
mean.
salty about Mia. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't remember what he says, but he's like, oh, I could have had somebody, or I'm still getting over.
Well,
or
no.
I don't know.
That's what this was. So Anya is like, where's Sav? And then Danny is like, oh, probably went out to go get his Harvest Festival dance present for you, which that's a thing. And then she's like, he got me a present. He's like, yeah, they're my girlfriend is so annoying stickers. And I'm like, cool burn, Danny. You did a great fucking job. But fucking, and then Anya gives him a look and runs off because she's very dramatic. And then I think it was either Jane. I think it was Jane who was like, why do you have to be mean to her or whatever? And he basically says something about well, I'm still getting over my heart recently being broken. Which
Oh,
you
God,
guys dated for 45
2
minutes.
seconds.
Just calm the
And,
fuck
come on,
down.
you're gonna say that out loud? It's kind of lame.
Right?
Yeah, I don't
Who
know.
admits to that kind of vulnerability? That's what I want to know.
Guys, sorry, I'm heartbroken over here. Deal with it. Yeah, tough guy. All
So I
right.
just had my heart ripped out.
Literally,
Pointedly
Sorry,
stares
I don't
at
want to
Mia.
mess with you.
literally cannot imagine a world in which I am that vulnerable in front of any human.
I just can't imagine anybody actually saying those words in front of the person who made them feel that way. I don't. Except I would believe Mia saying that, but I don't fucking know.
I don't know. Mia has one good line in this entire episode.
And
it's not for
then-
a little bit.
Spinner calls Jane, or Jane does Jane call Spinner? Spinner calls Jane and pretends to crank call her and says gross stuff about he's gonna come up behind her and kiss her neck and talk to her in Swedish or something. I don't really know.
Swedish?
I think that was
Not
just
the
to
sexiest
Swedish?
language.
I think it was just to make it funny so that she'd know it was a prank call and it wasn't someone actually trying to make
Alright.
moves.
I don't
But
know.
I think, this is when Jane still loved Spinner. That's nice.
Oh.
But then, and she's like, "Are you coming to the harvest dance?" And he's like, "Oh, actually, I'm feeling kind of weird. I don't know if I'm up to it because it's been 3 years since this horrible thing happened, and I don't feel like it." And she's like, "Come on, why don't you come?" I'm like, "Why is Jane being a fucking dick about this?"
Right? So
She did the same thing when he had cancer, though. It's I know you have cancer, but let's party. Jane, partying's not the answer. Be understanding that just because he's a man doesn't mean he doesn't have needs and emotions sometimes.
yeah.
Fucking
Also,
Jane.
why is her answer always to party?
I don't fucking
Yeah,
know.
she just minimizes Spin's legitimate problems and wants to party, and I'm sick of it.
Always. And but it just seemed crazy that she would not be understanding of this. But I guess now that you mentioned the cancer thing, maybe that tracks. But I'm like, she's like, it's been 3 years. Get over it. Like, are you fucking crazy?
I'm like, it's only been 3 years. What are you talking about? And then she hangs up, and then she and Mia are like, oh, boy problems. And I was like, this is not a boy problem. This is your boyfriend went through a deeply traumatic event only 3 years ago and doesn't feel like going to a high school dance with you right now.
At the anniversary. Frankly, your boyfriend's in college.
This is an assault and homicide problem.
Yeah. Also, frankly,
it's not boy problems.
Your boyfriend is like, what, 20? You're lucky that he agrees to go to your high school dances at all. Like, that's fucking weird.
I feel like he's starting to get too old to go to those.
He's definitely too old to go to those.
Legally by the school's rules or something.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on the school. We talked about this. My prom date was like 22. Yeah.
I think my high school had a cutoff at like 20.
Actually, no, he wasn't that old. My prom date was like maybe 20, 21. I don't remember.
I feel like we had a cutoff before 21, so we didn't have older dates bringing alcohol. I mean, people would get alcohol anyway, but like theoretically, that was probably the idea. I don't know. Anyway, we've talked about dances and dance rules and all of that shit so much. We should probably move on.
It's a theme of our podcast. If Degrassi had less dances, we wouldn't talk about it as much.
But Johnny, DeMarco, and Moose are in like the rafters above the stage with pig's blood trying to pull a carry. I guess they want to like dump it on the Harvest King and Queen at the dance later.
Just like straight up pulling a carry without like being mean to the underdog, I guess.
And Moose
I suppose.
Ha, you're awesome. I love you, man. And then Johnny DeMarco gets weird and he's like, not like that. Not like in a sexy way. In like a brother way. And it's like really weird, but I kind of like it.
I loved it. First of all,
it was pretty cheap.
I loved it. First of all, I love that he loves him. I think that maybe it is in a sexy way. Second of all,
just because you do also.
I've gotten over that since
he cut his hair.
Since he cut his hair and ruined
became
my
a
life.
dick.
He was a dick.
He was always a dick.
I know, but he became more of a dick, and also he cut his hair, so all of that dirtbag charm just ran right out the goddamn door.
What's next? He's gonna get a job. Like,
it.
You know that's not my type. But then
Kelsey's type is Matthew Lillard. We've talked about
my type is Matthew Lillard / Ski Ulrich. It's confusing.
Ski Ulrich, I understand. I don't get Matthew
better than Kid Ulrich.
I mean, if they're a bad guy in Scream, they're probably my type. Let's just leave it there.
Matthew Lillard has so much gums. His voice is so high. I
know the Matthew Lillard thing confuses you.
He spits when he cries,
but
I love
also
SLC
like
Punk.
not the weird. Like I still am. I can understand that more than Johnny DeMarco.
DeMarco. I told you, Johnny DeMarco is just
like
left.
Jay.
It's just leftover Jason Mewes feelings.
Anyway, someone. Oh wait.
Oh yeah.
Spinner like walks up to school and is talking to himself. He's like, "I need to be a super coolio boyfriend. I'm gonna do."
Well,
no. This is before this.
This is before this. So
he's talking to himself in the dot.
He's talking to himself in the dot for sure, and he keeps calling Jane baby out loud by himself to himself, and it makes me so uncomfortable. I'm
like while he's texting
Didn't make
her,
me as comfortable as him using the term super coolio boyfriend.
I was fine with super coolio boyfriend, honestly. I was like, whatever, you're doing your best.
And then he starts getting fucking ghost texts from Rick, which is traumatizing and it's not cool.
Crazy. It's not cool at all. Also, did Rick know how to text? When did Rick die?
Like 2005?
I would say after the advent of texting.
Yeah.
He's a tech-savvy guy, so you'd think he'd pick up quick.
I like, in the world of Degrassi, people weren't really texting then.
Yeah, but like
Spin doesn't know who he thinks he's texting Jane, and he answers as if he's talking to Jane. Like, how do you not know who the fuck you're texting?
Well, that's the thing. Also, it said number blocked. My note was, which I left at home, but I remember writing, why does Spinner assume that a blocked number is Jane?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's confusing. So first of all, he calls Rick baby, which I'm sure was really an adventure for both of them. And then Rick is like, remember when you threw me in the dumpster?
Yeah. And he's like, who is this? This isn't funny. And I don't know. They talk, they exchange words. Rick acts more like he's Rick and Spinner is very offended and confused.
Either Rick calls him or he calls Rick. I can't remember, but I think Rick calls him, and it's Holly J. But it's before Holly J. worked at the Dot, so he didn't know it was like Holly J. with a weird voice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I was confused. Just like